let's start this conference. And I would like to begin with our host team. We are here in the Interreg Sudway project that is called Transnet. This project will be detailed later on by Lou, who introduced herself already. In this project, there is an activity that is focusing on water and biodiversity in the task group 2. And in this activity, the bioacoustic team is composed of Guillermo del Campo, Laura Mascarac, and Gabriel Minelli from the CEDINT in the University Polytechnique de Madrid, here where we are. They belong from the group of the energy efficiency and Internet of Things. So, and around the table here, we are having Camille Desjonquères from the University of St. Andrew in Scotland, and Luis Santamaria from the Station Biologica of Doñana, Spain, so pretty close from here. And Lou Ackermann and I, Magali Gerino, we are from Toulouse 3 University in France. So this is the team that have been thinking at organizing this little event, and in the framework of this project Transnet. To know better where we are here, there is the campus, the Monte Gancedo campus, that is quite natural with a few buildings. That's why our host imagined to focus on bioacoustic and biodiversity to better assess the biodiversity on this campus. So the building where we are, the CEDINT, as a multidisciplinary research center from University Polytechnique of Madrid. And this research center is focusing on energy efficiency, virtual reality. We had an experience yesterday that was quite amazing, and optical engineering and biometry. So in our project, we are focusing on living labs. Living labs are open
elle est là. Je l'ai vue il y a 5 minutes.
Life environment based on systematic users for co-creation. And that's why we are all together here, and we wanted to make this open event.
Ça marche, merci beaucoup.
Share our experience of living lab in bioacoustics all together. And those living labs, as mentioned by the European Network of Living Labs, are intermediate between citizen, research organization, company, and government agency. In this way, there are common elements that may get multiple implementation depending on the focus of the living lab. Here we decide to focus on bioacoustic, and that was the definition of living lab that is set by the European Network of Living Labs. So with all these with the information and the discussion we'll have today all together, we will be able to make our bioacoustic sensors getting, we hope, better and more performant. So now Camille, who has been organizing this requirement, will talk about the objectives.
Okay, so hi everyone. We are really happy to be organizing this conference today. And so the objective of this micro event is to look at passive acoustic monitoring. It's an emergent tool for the survey of animal population, communities, and ecosystems. And as any emerging tools, it needs a lot of research to understand what are the possible applications and sampling designs and the correct analysis methods for this new tool. So from data collection to ecological assessment, we...
Je suis dans un séminaire.
Excusez-moi, est-ce que vous pouvez couper vos micros, s'il vous plaît?
So we need three main things: good sampling design, robust hardware to collect the data, and efficient signal processing. And so the idea of this workshop is to sort of have a summary of the current practices and bring together researchers from computer sciences and ecology to brainstorm about future solutions. And so the schedule of today, we have the introduction and the presentation of the project, the Transnet project. And then we go into 3 sessions, which are the 3 main points that I presented just before. So the first session will be about sampling designs, and we will have Luis Santamaria presenting about integrating automated recordings, remote sensing, and in situ data. We will also have Diego Yusa presenting on the trends in passive acoustic monitoring. And then we will have an open discussion about sampling designs and for acoustic monitoring. We will explain a bit later how the open discussions will go. And we will, of course, repeat before each session to make sure that everyone is on the same page. Before the break, we will have also a short short talk from Georges Sisi, who is the scientific coordinator of Transnet, and that is the link between lighting and biodiversity. Then we will have a nice coffee break for 20 minutes. Make sure you go outside, you have a drink, do anything you need. And then we'll be back for our next session. So the next session will be about hardware, and we will have Becky Heath from the Imperial College of London presenting on 3D autonomous recorders. And then we will have Laura Mascaraki presenting on Internet of Things solutions for wildlife acoustic sensors. And then again, an open discussion about hardware. We'll then have a lunch break for an hour and a half, depending on whether we keep the schedule. It might get a bit shorter. And then after the lunch break, we will meet for the last session of the day, which will be about signal processing. And we will have Rachel Buxton from Canada presenting on using acoustic monitoring for biodiversity conservation solutions. And Juan Ulloa, who will present his package for quantitative landscape analysis in Python. And then again, an open discussion on signal processing. And we will finish quickly with a few concluding remarks, and by 4:30, 4:40 we will be finished. Okay, so the rules. So we planned this event as a small event. We had the idea of meeting with in person maybe 8 or 10 people, and then have I don't know, 30 people outside in the online. But in the end, over 300 people registered, so we had to close the registration because our online facilities don't allow us to go over 300 people. So because we are so many of us, make sure that you mute your microphone. We know the drill. We've been there for 2 years now, so make sure that you're muted. And if you're not, we might go and mute you ourselves. You can ask and discuss as much as you want in the chat. After the talks, we will take questions. So if you raise your hand, we will take questions from people. During the open discussions, you can share all your craziest ideas. The idea is really to brainstorm on whatever is done now and whatever could be done in the future. But make sure to keep it short, because as we are so many of us, we want to make sure that everyone has a chance to express themselves if they want. So maybe keep it, less, aim for less than 1 minute, and we might have to cut you if you're a bit going over a bit too long. And finally, we are recording. You probably know when you log into Zoom, you will have a warning. We will be sharing the content afterwards, likely on YouTube, but we will keep you updated about that. And yeah, thank you so much for being here, and enjoy the day of conference. And we might have a minute or two for questions if there are any, but otherwise we will have Lou presenting the Transnet project.
Thank you, Camille. Can you allow me to share my screen?
Yes.
For now, I can't.
Yes, I am. Here, now you should be able to share your screen.
Well, thank you. Do you see my presentation?
Yes.
Great. Good morning, everyone. Many thanks for all the people that are online today. I asked on the chat, and we have people from India, Austria, Australia, Brazil, many different countries. So we're very proud to have you today. I will present you the Transnet project, which is the one hosting the conference today. So Transnet is a European project funded by Interreg Sudoe, which is a European fund. Our objective is to build a university living lab model for the ecological transition. So the base ideas, the 3 assumptions that made us create this project, were that universities have campuses, and campuses can be seen as small cities used as test beds for research. And on campuses, we have all the networks that are interconnected. I see on the chat, and okay, I will. My screen is, yes. So our campuses, on our campuses, our universities have laboratories where we are able to develop demonstrators, prototypes, and these can be used as research and innovation media. And also, one thing that is very true is that to transform invention into innovation, we really need a link with the private. So a public-private link is essential. So Magali briefly introduced the concept of living labs. It is an open innovation ecosystem. It is a new method of research that is user-centered. So it's really using the very needs of the users to develop some innovations. There is co-creation in real conditions. It's not only in labs. And there is a big emphasis on public-private people partnerships, which is called the 3 Ps. And a living lab can be used to finding answers to specific issues. There are a lot of living labs in the care area. There is a lot of living labs on health, on energy, for example, many different things. So the objective of Transnet is to develop a university living lab model that would be generic and transferable to other universities or to companies. And we decided to focus on the ecological transition. So this can target mobility, energy, numerical, or the environment also. And we want to finalize this model, this framework, so universities, our universities from the consortium could apply as real living labs at the end of the project, I mean, after the project, because now we're just on the experiments. So the funding is from Interreg. So Interreg is funded by ERDF, so Regional Development Fund. SUDOE stands for Southwest of Europe. So we are partnering with Spain, Portugal, and France. The project started in October 2020 and will end in March 2023. And we are on the first axis of research and innovation. And we have a budget of over €1 million. So as I told you, the public-private partnership is very important. So we decided to build the project consortium in this way. So we are 5 universities coming from 3 countries. The University of Toulouse-3, which is the leader of the project. We have the Polytechnic University of Madrid that is hosting the conference today. We have the Science Faculty of Lisbon, the University of La Rochelle in France, and also the University of Beira Interior in Portugal. And to have the private link, we partnered with CIRSE, FUNCIAM, and CTA. There are 3 Spanish foundations and that are helping us getting a link with the private world. We also have a bigger ecosystem than the consortium. So we have associated partners. Most of them come from Spain. We have big companies such as Fundación Ibercaja, which is a very big bank in Spain. We have the Institut d'Economía de Barcelona, many different companies and structures that are with us on this project. And we have 2 new ones to be confirmed, which are Enel and the University of Toulouse 2, called Jean Jaurès. So the project is divided into 3 technical task groups. The first one is about replication. So the idea is to study the processes of adaptation and transfer of a research demonstrator from one environment to another. So for example, if Lisbon has developed something in photovoltaic, we will test it in Toulouse. And if La Rochelle developed something on social studies, for example, it could be tested in Madrid. So the first activity is about lighting devices. So this one could be linked to bioacoustics. We're working on it. The second one is on home automation in the building, so about smart buildings. the third one on coupling electrical and thermal power generation, and the last one on the use of digital technology on campuses. And this task group is led by the Polytechnic University of Madrid. The second one is about creating new demonstrators, to design and implement new demonstrators in universities. So we have one activity on recycling batteries for solar energy. For example, using secondhand batteries coming from electric vehicles to use them as storage, for example, electric storage. We have an activity on mobility because it is very important on campuses. And it is the one that is handling this conference today, which is around environmental interaction with human activities. Again, something about electricity and thermal networks, and one on social interactions. And the third one, the third task group, is really about developing this model, this living lab model. So it's using the work in task group 1 and task group 2 with new research and fieldwork activities to create the living lab model. So all the activities are the different steps that we need to develop this framework and to develop the model. So it starts from studying what has been done and also adapting it to what we want to do to develop the generic and transferable model. And also the University of Toulouse 3 is in charge of managing the project, doing the communication and all the monitoring evaluation, which are the mandatory task groups that we have to do. Our results, the main key ERs that we will have are mainly reports. We will have some reports about replication. We will have reports on the development of new demonstrators, and also inventories, roadmaps, white papers on just to develop the living lab model. And just a quick word about our social networks, it would be great. And I've seen that many of you started following us on Twitter, but we also have a LinkedIn, and we have a website that you can follow us on, and you will find more information on the project there. It's just what I wanted to say, and I hope that you will enjoy this conference today. And again, many thanks to Magali, Camille, and the CEDINS team for organizing this conference today. Thank you.